Well, Australia's gone and done it. That sounds a bit like the beginning of that Simpsons songs, but the Isotopes had won it. I did not see this morning, Pezza, or this evening, as you can tell in Australia time, that India would lose 7 for 70 in like an hour and 45, something like that. Difficult to know, like, if Australia's just been amazing this morning or if it's sort of been collapsed, or just maybe in the history of Test cricket, chasing 444 has been very difficult. But over the course of the 5 days, Australia's been the better team, and just rewards, I think, for 2 years of some pretty good cricket all round to win the mace that we've all dreamed of holding up one day as of 4 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. Australia undeniably the better team. Here goes. They bossed the game from start to finish. There's no way I'm going to say that it was never in doubt. There were demons deluxe and a little bit of controversy sprinkled on top along the way. But yeah, I suppose when we stare at this from 50,000 feet, I don't know why we do that. It's just an empty corporate cliche. It will just look like a game where Australia jumped out in front. They won the first 5 sessions. India toiled manfully at the after that, but it was too late. It was too late, and yeah, it's just rewards for Australia, as you say. I think they've been the best team in this cycle, which is a strange phrase to say because it doesn't seem connected to Test cricket at all. And look, for those who might have stumbled upon this video to see whether there'd be any kind of, like internet clapback response from us following the avalanche of bile that's been received in the last 24 hours. There won't be, other than to say, like, in grade cricket terms, if you play against Coates, it's just a good fucking song. And yeah, like in my heart, and I'm not referring to Indian players. I'm referring to the Coates that we compete against, on the internet and the commenters. If you want to put it in those terms, we all pretend that we're playing in the game when we're not. We've just got Doritos on our chest. Then on that level, it's a good song. When Smith flew aerially to take Kohli, did I wake up my house? Maybe. Has my son returned home from hospital with a second broken arm in a separate incident 4 days apart from his first broken arm? Yes. Did that matter when Steve Smith went aerial? No. So on that level, of course, it's to the commenters, fucking pack 'em. But to everyone else who's normal, and that's the large majority of people, or reasonable, I should say, I don't think you can argue that Australia didn't deserve to win this game. They bossed it. I think there are some recriminations for India coming up. I don't mean in criminal matters. I just mean in terms of the evolution of the side. And why don't I introduce you guys? I know we haven't said that we're sponsored by cricket.com yet, though we are, and you will do that. But why don't we jump straight into the stat dog, he goes, because just from a historical perspective, Australia completes a simple one. Australia completes the triple of winning the ODI World Cup, T20 World Cup, and the Test Championship. They're the first and only team to do that. And I think that matters, I mean, deducing a lot of the anxiety or angst that a lot of Indians feel about winning ICC trophies, I think on that level, it's nice to acknowledge that Australia wins shit. And, it feels good to win shit. I'm sorry to say, for those who haven't, but it feels fucking good.
Oh, it feels amazing, especially when we cheat to do it.
Yeah, amazing.
Sorry. It's amazing,
So there you go.
Yeah, it is nice, and you're right. I mean, the cricket.com have been supporting us throughout the beginning of the ultimate Test match, and in many ways, it's been a grueling 5 days for all involved, especially the podcasters and the intern, having to read some of the dumbest shit you've ever seen in your entire life. So someone should feel for us. But we thank cricket.com for getting behind us, and of course for providing us with these amazing stats throughout not just the World Test Championship, but plenty more to come on TGC, with the Asia Cup and also the World Cup, and there's also some Australian India ODIs and T20s coming up. ODIs, isn't it? In between there as well, and of course on the channel coming up in a week's time is the Ashes. So there's plenty more happening here on TGC. But Pez, give me first of the 3 things of the rundown of today.
Very simple. Scott Boland, he goes. Like ahead of this series, maybe basically since he he received a baggy green. Many people ask, who is this guy? But damn
including his teammates.
See, from Make-A-Wish Foundation, well, we've got to stop this for the Australian 11.
We're playing with 10 every week. We can't keep having these
kid
Make-A-Wish kids come in.
Geez, relentless. Geez, unerring line and length, this Make-A-Wish kid. Can we keep him in the side?
How long has he got left?
No, that's a
Can he
story.
make it to the Oval?
You know, I've always said it's good to knock over India on neutral territory, but to do it with your Make-A-Wish kid who just keeps hitting that, owning that 6 to 8 meter area, pushing forward, got that wobble seam delivery and everything. Build the man a statue, a commentator once said. I mean, seriously, build this guy a statue. He was just once again, I mean, he is so reliable, isn't he? Scott Boland, you know what you're going to get. Cummins started the day with he and Boland. You almost felt like they were the two linchpins for Australia. For Boland to even be given the ball at the start of the day to go start us off, Scotty.
Yep.
In those first 2 overs there, and just hitting that area, locking the batters in. Top tier. Okay, Ponting seemed very stressed for the first half an hour about Cummins' field placements. Like, it really just kept going back to it, like almost as though there's some contempt there. But then Boland, made the breakthrough. He prized open the entire game with the pair of wickets of Kohli and Jadeja there. Both excellent balls. Kohli loose and flapping again on 5th stump. That's what he does, I guess. And Steve Smith just takes an absolute worldie, and I am up and about. And then, a couple of balls later, it's a beauty to Jadeja. It's an absolute beauty. I don't know what he does with it. I suppose if you're critiquing the shot, he's neither attacking nor defending, so perhaps some more intent there. But he's angling in from around the wicket. It straightens, moves away, scratch, pack him, and with it, India's hopes really.
There was great analysis from Ponting about the release position from Boland on the commentary, where he sets up Kohli nicely, and it's so odd that Kohli has this weakness of like probably his strength, he's got one of the great cover drives of all time, and he played one in particular I can think of top of my head off Stark last night, and it's just like out there, and it's just a little bit of lack of patience, I suppose, from Virat. But just the release positions of Boland, where he's got the wobble seam, he's got one decking back in, which was the ball before, I think it was, and he just floats it a little wider with a leg cutting wrist position. And then Steve Smith, who takes his catches like quite often, where he gets both feet off the ground. It wasn't like we have obviously seen him take these ones where it goes like full horizontal, where he's fully perpendicular off the ground. But he seems to like these ones where it's almost like a half body length away, but he gets both feet off the ground, and he sort of catches it, not full extension with the arms, but so a little bit more tucked in. But it was still a fucking great grab. And what I wouldn't give to be wrapped up by Steve Smith's big old mitts. Oh, what I wouldn't give in this life.
Absolutely. Yeah, Jeff Buckley's song, like a kingdom for a kiss upon your shoulder. Or my kingdom for a kiss upon your shoulder, my kingdom for a big old hug from Smithy's mitts. I mean, not quite as poetic as JB, but the same sentiment still applies.
Yeah.
Okay, he goes, we haven't discussed this off air, but Boland's in my first test team now. I don't know how you can permit him to miss at Edgbaston. The guy is clockwork. England would not want him. To me, if that means Hazelwood, who's obviously an elite bush horse and an elite cricketer, has to miss and to permit his body to heal further and to freshen up even more, then I'm doing that.
Yeah.
Scott Boland has just made an irrevocable case to play.
Yes.
You can't leave him out now.
I think that the answer to that is more likely that Stark will not play. Though I made one of the three things maybe after day 2 where Stark gets the wicket of Kohli with a fucking rip snorter, and look, Stark takes the big wicket of Rahane as well, which really did seal it in this game. But he's been very expensive, and he only played one Test match 4 years ago in the Ashes in 2019. Pattinson was preferred ahead of him. Stark has been incredible the last 2 years for Australia in this World Test Championship cycle. He's been averaging like low 20s, huge number of wickets. His runs down the order are important, especially in England as well. I think even this morning we said that his 40 with Kerry, just to make that chase 450 instead of 360. He's a great cricketer, and he will play a role in the Ashes. I think that Hazelwood needs to play the first test, because I don't think Hazelwood can play 2 or 3 tests in a row, so he might be able to play 1 and 4 or 1, 3 and 5. Do you know what I mean? So I'm sort of guessing in that way as well. But I think at the moment, it might be for me. I have not really thought about it. Hazelwood, Boland, Cummins, Green, Lyon.
Yeah.
I think maybe.
Yeah, I appreciate that thinking, and if they pick that side, then you're excited, for that combination as well. But
right,
I think they also really value Stark's angles and also the rough that he makes for Lyon, as well. I mean, he does seem to be fairly ensconced in the side, Stark, and I agree.
Yep.
Like when teams are chasing and he's leaking, and he's getting low and he's getting sidearm a little bit, and good batters are leaning on him, down the ground and stuff. It looks hard, and then he takes a wicket, then he bowls a nasty one to KS Barrett as well. I think it was a Barrett, and was it Yadav? Anyway, and
Yadav was Yadav.
Yeah, and so he's got that side of his game as well. I'd be surprised if they left Stark out, but it's an option.
I think over the course of Stark's career, he's always been the first one that people want dropped, yet he just keeps turning out these wickets. He keeps taking wickets. And we all have fears in our heart for Bazball and what they might mean, and just fears generally. Tears for fears. I think that's the interesting argument, but yeah, he keeps taking wickets and keeps taking big wickets. So I don't know.
Okay, second thing, he goes, loose batting. So when I say about India today, and maybe you can just speak more broadly, he goes, I think it's a bad result for India. This is a bad result for lots of reasons. Specifically, they won the toss. To omit Ashwin was a poor selection choice. A lot of the batters made starts. Rahane made 89. That's their top score from the innings. He's well snared by Green. I don't think there's any doubt over that one. But no big score otherwise. In this second innings, lots of loose shots, poor shots. I thought, from the top, from Rohit to Nathan Lyon, Kohli's wafting. Jadeja, that's okay. I think Rahane's shot was really loose. Who'd been great until that point. God, Rahane looked good today. Fuck, he looks good when he's fluent and relaxed. But mate, it's a just with where India currently sits in cricket. In terms of their men's team on the field, the power they have off the field, the emergence of the nation generally, and economically, socially, the vibe that creates among the people, many of whom we have, so many great relationships with, and we're really, invested in learning and understanding more about it. It's got to burn, that a lot of the money and the power is not converting to big old trophies. And I know that there's flip sides to it. You've got the IPL. There's a lot to enjoy and to be proud of there, and many people's teams would win, and maybe that's the main thing. That's the club competition people mainly care about. That might be something people say, but it's got to burn that another ICC trophy goes begging, and not only does it go begging, but the manner in which both teams fronted up to this game, I felt, like the India's talent and their ability. And their sort of man-for-man qualities over Australia were really evident for all to see. But I felt like I saw one cohesive, balanced side, and then I saw another side which was smaller than the sum of its parts. not really together. I don't know what the bowling balance or attack was. Obviously, the batting group couldn't get it together in both innings. They missed the jump in the game, and that's just got to burn. I think because it's not a full representation of their abilities, and it will by extension create question marks over Rahul Dravid and Rohit Sharma's captaincy. And I just think to lose in the manner they did, to be a little bit out disciplined, for the other team to just be more diligent in the details of the game, is what would be really frustrating. So yeah,
I agree, mate. I think that the game was lost in the first innings. I mean that wicket was in, and never has been throughout the entire Test match, been a 470 wicket. Travis Head 163, player of the match. Steve Smith 120. They batted really well, and they had to, but because the wicket had plenty of life in it, especially in that first hour on the first day and the first day as a whole. I was looking on cricket.com before, actually, in their Crickalytics section. They have who's won their sessions. They judge who's won sessions, and they've had India winning 2 sessions in the entire game, and. India have great players, and they will always have great players, yet they keep falling short. And it's bizarre, but there's no doubt that they've lost the game on the first day after winning the toss. Pat Cummins said he would have bowled as well. And I think over the course of the match, Australia just had slightly better seamers. Australia, they weren't perfect. Certainly on day 2, Cummins bowled no balls for wickets. They dropped catches. I suppose they were a good enough team to come back and take excellent catches and score important runs and bowl good spells. But it was loose today. It was a little bit loose. They had to go at 4 and over last night, and maybe they did that because they wanted to get themselves into a position where they could score 280 in a day today. But maybe it was just a little bit flatter last night. I'm not sure, but I didn't feel like, whilst Australia's skills were high, it didn't feel like, apart from maybe Jadeja. And I include Kohli's wicket, though that was high skill. It didn't really feel like Australia did much other than just stay patient.
I agree.
They
didn't sort of build pressure where then it combusted. A lot of those balls were hit in the middle of the bat. There was a lot of deliveries being bowled where it wasn't moving around that much. It didn't feel like wickets were coming as a result of pressure. Australia was definitely bowling tight and disciplined, but I felt that Kohli and Rahane especially looked reasonably comfortable in defence. Kohli was outsmarted by Boland there. I mean, to have the confidence to throw one out there, and we can conclude that Boland definitely threw it out there for Kohli, given how accurate he is. Boland doesn't leave that narrow corridor of wet paint, on the batsman's right shoulder unless he wants to, So to throw it out there and to get that nick, that's a great piece of bowling. And he's done him again. But you're entitled to be frustrated if you're Indian in that situation. I'm kind of frustrated a little bit. Mainly not, but...
when I threw a chair through the window and Colin nicked off, it didn't really suggest that I was that disappointed.
Let's slip the lid a little bit. A couple of chairs have gone through windows, and they're happy chairs. Okay, third thing he goes, just a note on Australia. Australia wins, and you're taking this win ahead of the Ashes. It's Smith's run. It's Smith runs. All the bowlers take a bunch of wickets. They've all got something to take away from the game that's positive. There was a couple of drop catches, a couple of really good catches taken, and Alex Carey has a good game, both innings, and his gloves. You didn't even have to remark on his gloves. That's big because he was just neat and tidy the entire time.
That's his best game for Australia, I reckon, Pez.
And
he scored literally 100 for Australia. And he has been very good the last 6 months. There was a period of time when he first came into the team where there was just a couple of chances where in between him and first slip where he wasn't quite gloving those. Maybe those chances haven't come. Maybe he's just improved. We haven't even noticed them. But 100 runs, 6 catches, neat, tidy, important contributor. Ever since he's come in as well, Australia's DRS has been much better.
Yeah.
As long as they stop listening to Marnus, who is the worst reviewer in the history of the game. That's why he should never captain the country.
Yep, agree. I actually think Marnus talked his way out of captaining Australia one day.
Yeah.
just for that piece of just insolence, like at a big moment in the game. But anyway, yeah.
It was literally the ball before Coley nicked off. It was the ball before, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So it was actually a masterstroke, just a bit of disruption into the rhythm
actually.
of Coley's batting. But yeah, mate, Carey, fucking a sensational game. And like overall, the team looks really good. And you know what? I think in a weird way, maybe not that weird, if Australia didn't win this game, it would be really bad news for the Ashes, I feel like. Now, England for me will still win the Ashes. They're favourites. And the reason that is because England bowlers would have bowled a lot better than the Indian bowlers did in this game. And England's batting has obviously just been incredible for the last year. So I think if England played this game and Australia played exactly the same, England win this game because it's got better bowlers in these conditions. So how important it was to win this warm-up game cannot be stated enough. Like, it's obviously a whole new challenge to Edgbaston in 5 days' time. The Australian bowlers will be absolutely fucking stoked they've got this done in the session rather than having to bowl full day's play again before a 5-day turnaround for the first test match of the biggest series of these guys' careers now. But the team looks good. Guys took their moments, and Nathan Lyon fourfer in the fourth innings. Scott Boland just continues to do his thing. Cummins has won a really big game as captain again. Yeah, I think there's definitely some improvements here in his captaincy. No doubt about that. But the team is good. The team is good, and they needed to do it before they could maybe achieve an unthinkable thing in World Test Championship and away Ashes in the space of a month.
It's pretty good to win the World Test Championship by 200 plus runs and still have improvement in your game. But and we can rely on people of a certain generation to remind us of his need to improve as well. That we know that'll always be there. Just a note to Warner as well. He goes 43 in the first innings. It's something. It was something for him. He can play in that location. Hashtag RCDC. This is from Kane Wilson. Hashtag Toots300. He says, but to us he says simply at Grade Cricketer, where's the circuit? And I'm just wondering, he goes, you said that the bowlers get the day off now or whatever just to rest and recover. Unfortunately for them, they have to drink 4 cases of beer each, as is the protocol in the Australian cricket team.
I still think they've got a 4 o'clock tea time. They've got a 4 o'clock tea time this afternoon, so still 18 holes.
That's right. Maybe the circuit is just the Ashes. I mean, we can line up our own excuses now. Australia's come and got what they needed to get in England, and now we can have 5 exhibition games of fun against a team trying to bring crowds back with their lofty hitting and whatnot. And that's me just setting myself up for failure because I agree with you that England will be good. But
I would like to see, Pezza, if Australia could get themselves to the games with an open top bus parade to each game. So from London, head up to Birmingham next for that game, but open top bus parade. Probably not many people in the streets. But then they obviously head up to where's the second test match? That's in London, so back down that for that, and then head up to Leeds and then Manchester, and then back down to open top bus parade for me.
It's funny, isn't it? Like, I feel like there'd be open top bus parades in India had they won this game, and I feel like if England had made this final and won it, they'd also get an open top bus parade. And I feel like in Australia, the back page of the Herald Sun in Melbourne is most likely going to be about whichever AFL game was today.
It was Carlton Bombers, and I was going picture in picture. When Starkey was on, I was like, is Peter Wright playing? Is he back this week?
Righty.
Is he back at the G?
I don't know what that means, but I do like the taste of mace in my mouth.
Well, thanks for joining us and for downvoting the video sometimes over the past 5 days. We'll be back We'll be back just basically every day for the rest of our lives doing this, talking about this, and trying to make you laugh and trying to make you organise open top bus parades for our Make-A-Wish kids. See you guys later.